Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Miss Sayé show. I have my dear friend, producer, director, Daniel Sollinger with me today. Thank you so much for being on the show today, Daniel.
Thank you for having me, Saye.
Absolutely. It was a long due to have you on the show. So I'm so happy that, your schedule is busy and now you're on the show. So I get a chance to ask all the questions that I want to ask about your new documentary, which is, I so enjoyed that I watched for the second time. It's called Immortality or Bust.
Yes.
Please do tell us about it.
Well, Immortality or Bust follows the campaign in the 2016 campaign of Zoltan Isvan, who ran under the Transhumanist Party. And transhumanism is a branch of philosophy that believes that science and technology can radically extend our capabilities, including our lifespan and health span. So Zoltan had a campaign stunt of building this bus that was in the shape of a coffin. He called it the Immortality Bus, and he drove it around the country, stopping at biohacking labs, cryopreservation facilities, transhumanist churches, and ultimately the Capitol building in the U.S. and in Washington, D.C., and delivered a transhumanist Bill of Rights. So I followed his journey and documented it.
When he was 21, he sailed across the planet in a boat. He took 500 books with him. He's credited with inventing volcano surfing. Zoltan Istvan, he's running for president in 2016.
A typical transhumanist is somebody who has an interest in using science and technology to radically enhance themselves.
You know, it's like a port, more body modification than anything.
So when I present my tag to the car, it unlocks the door. Another reader to start my car.
This goes right onto my skull. Biohacking definitely is a hidden world.
This has been part of the problem with transhumanism, is how do we spread transhumanism without doing something very provocative? Well, you probably really can't.
Incredible. Yes, I watched the movie Immortality or Bust. I purchased it on iTunes, but I'm sure it's available other places as well. I love technology, so I very much enjoyed it. And Zoltan is such a bright, smart person, and everyone in that film were very unique. That's what I loved about it. Every person, they were playing themselves, they were in character, they were so unique, so intelligent, and I very much enjoyed it, the movie Immortality or Bust, if you guys want to order it on iTunes. Also, I know that Zoltan was running for president, but I think his bigger mission was to bring attention to the topic more than wanting to be a president. Am I correct, or?
No, he was clear that he wasn't going to win the election. He was really trying to raise awareness about how science and technology can radically improve our life.
Incredible. Yes. Well, I don't want to say any more because you guys have to watch it, and it's so entertaining, and it's just the right length as well. Sometimes the movies are so long or so short. This just hit the sweet spot. I very much enjoyed it. Daniel, I know you have been in Hollywood. You have been active, made many movies, but today we want to focus on Immortality or Bust. What drew you to this film? What piqued your interest to want to get involved with this?
Well, I started out at New York University Film School, and New York University has this other department that in the 90s was just sort of getting started, called the Interactive Telecommunication Program. And it was all about intersecting computers with media and communications and stuff. And so I got very involved in the intersection of like computing and other media, which led to an interest in, I was a little bit what they call a cyberpunk. I did a lot of hacking and stuff like that. And, but then I discovered a whole part of the internet that was devoted to what we now call transhumanism. And so it's a philosophical movement I've been following for a long time. And when I saw that somebody was actually going to run for president under the Transhumanist Party, I emailed him and I said, this looks really interesting to me. Is there any way I can help you? And he said, well, you're a filmmaker. Why don't you make a movie about it? And I was like, absolutely. Because I'd made a movie in the early 90s called Rhyme and Reason. And it was about hip hop, back when hip hop was sort of a subgenre or more, an underground thing. And transhumanism felt to me very similar in that it is going to come and be a dominant mainstream conversation some point in the future. And the way I felt like hip hop was going to become like the dominant music genre in the future, back in the early 90s.
I know we went over this very quickly, because for me, I had to research it to get a deeper understanding. What is transhumanism? Can you please break it down?
Sure. It's really nothing more complicated than using science and technology to radically improve our life. You can do it through biohacking. You can put, magnets and sensors and chips and stuff in yourself. That's part of it. You can do it through prosthetics, being able to run faster than humans through prosthetic legs or that sort of thing. You can do it through genetic editing. There's a woman who's lengthened her telomeres by retrofitting a virus and injecting herself with it. There's any technology that we use to, radically extend our capabilities would fall under transhumanism.
Incredible. That is fascinating to me. I do follow lots of accounts that there's another cryoport. I think this account that I'm following, that it gives lots of information about that. So when you told me about your movie and I read a little bit about it, I was super excited to watch it, and I'm so glad it's available now to watch. In your opinion, having a passion for it to begin with, so you didn't just approach it as a project, it was something that you had passion for, and then you wanted to get involved with Zoltan's campaign, and then you provided the filmmaking aspect, which is you're great at. How do you think this film is impacting our world globally?
Right. First of all, what I love about filmmaking is that you get to dive into these worlds and really dig around and just find all these great things about it. And I knew about a lot of the things that are in this movie, but I never put them together. And by putting them together into one movie, I realized like what a large and diverse subculture this is right now, that there's all these things happening within all these, as you said, all these really interesting people doing all these different things in this community. And it was just a blast. It was a blast to explore. The foundation for a lot of, and I knew you were a big technology fan, which is why I couldn't wait for you to see it. I think I talked to you about it 2 years ago, and it's like, Sayé, you really got to see my movie, because I knew you were into technology.
Loved it.
And but the main premise about why a lot of people believe that technology is going to exponentially grow is something called Moore's Law. So computer chips get twice as fast, twice as small, and half as the price every 18 months. You can plot it all the way, even before computer chips, vacuum tubes, all the way back to, punch cards. And it follows the same very predictable mathematical progression.
Right.
But that means that the capabilities, it's an exponential curve. So we're in the knee of the curve, and it's going parabolic. And what that means is that there's going to be leaps and bounds over, short periods of time. So I've seen in my lifetime, I was old enough to see them land on the moon. The computer that they used to do that was the size of a building. And that is now the size of my watch. The computing power of that building is the size of my watch. And in the next 20 years, the computing power of a phone is going to be the size of a blood cell. And the implications of that are, I believe, enormous. So, I'm not the only one who recognizes these trends and understands this. It's a worldwide phenomenon. So after Zoltan started the U.S. Transhumanist Party, there was a UK Transhumanist Party. There was an Australian Transhumanist Party. So there's these transhumanist parties popping up all over the world at the moment. And anybody who's a student of the progress of technology in any place in the world, particularly like India and China, particularly China, they're starting to, I believe, outpace us in terms of artificial intelligence. So all these places, all those people that have that understanding about the underlying exponential growth that's happening in technology will be will understand, will be an audience for this film, or at least understand the principles and be involved in the issues that are laid out in it.
Incredible. Well, I hope you will allow us to show a few clips of the movie to just for people to see, you know, what they're getting into.
Really can't.
The plan is to drive this sarcophagus on wheels to Washington, D.C.
You want to run for president? It's like, yeah. Don't you think it's brilliant?
I am trying to essentially use my political platform as an agenda to push for transhumanism.
I saw this as a kind of science fiction, really.
I didn't come to die. I came to stay.
I mean, Americans just hate science so much.
I'm not sure about this eternity thing.
America's gonna just grab a rifle and tell you to go back to wherever you came from.
A person who's a transhumanist wishes for extremely long life.
It does not help the spirit of evolution.
To enable human beings to bypass nature.
We don't really believe in that word natural.
You're a politician, you have to sell people hope.
The public is right, but the government is wrong.
You have to somehow tie this into the greatness of America.
I mean, we spend 20% of the federal budget basically on making bombs and defense and things like that, and just less than 2% on science and medical research.
Given today's level of technology, there's nothing more I can do for this person.
My father has had 4 heart attacks. He can't survive heart surgery anymore.
The younger we die, the better our species becomes.
Technology will make it so our lives are healthier, better, and safer. We can defeat aging.
Thank you so much. Well, we're very excited. Beside iTunes, where else can people download the film?
So if you have Comcast as your cable provider, you can watch it on pay-per-view. It's available on iTunes, Amazon, Google Play, YouTube, Vimeo. It's Gravitas Ventures. Yeah, Gravitas Ventures is doing the release, and they've put it out in schools and everywhere. So it's a very wide release. If you Google it, however you'd like to stream your content, it's either there or will be there at some point in the future.
Well, we're very excited. Thank you so much. Besides Immortality or Bust, I know you have many other projects. And this is a question I wanted to ask you. How do you pick your projects? Because it's such a long time and energy and your life that you're going to spend on a project. And I know you are one of my most admirable friends who's active in Hollywood. I know you have a soul, a beautiful soul. So I want you to tell my friends here, how do you pick your projects?
Honestly, it's a combination of 2 factors. Like, who has a project that needs my services is one, and then do I like these people and want to work? Am I interested in what they're doing? And then on the other side, something like Immortality or Bust is just something that just came straight from my heart, and I did, and didn't wait for people to green light it or go through any sort of process. It's funny because I went around looking for a director, and I couldn't find a director for it. I just wanted to produce it. And so I ended up saying, well, I guess I'm the director. But it just came from my heart. And I have a few other things like that now that Immortality is Busters out, I'm going to go and do that with a couple other ideas that I have.
Very exciting. For Immortality or Bust, did you actually get on a road with them, or?
I spent some time on the road with Zoltan. Often because of my other work requirements, I would send crews to be on the road with him at different stops. I was in the initial phase, and I went to the biohacking lab, Grindfest, yes. and then we visit Alcor, a cryopreservation facility, and you can even see me operating the camera in some of the footage there.
Oh, I missed it. I didn't see you on that. I was wondering who was operating. It seemed like it was a very fun ride. His bus kept on breaking down. I felt so bad for him.
Well, it just goes to show you technology still has its problems.
That is true. His bus was pretty old. He was mentioning that his dad had the same bus. So that thing was really, really old. And I was very fascinated by him being so open to show every part of his life on camera. That was incredible.
That's true.
Yeah, that was very open of him. So, Daniel, what was the most challenging part of this documentary, and what was the funnest part of making Immortality or Bust?
Well, I think the funnest part was just getting to know Zoltan, who's just a force of nature by himself. He's a guy that decided, I'm going to sail the world, just threw 500 books into a boat and just started sailing the world. And it didn't dawn on him, like, it wasn't a big boat, it was a small boat, and just took off. And so, and then he decided, I'm going to run for president, and just goes and does it. And it's just people like that I find very fascinating. I've had a lot of challenges making movies. I can't think of many making this one. It took longer than I expected. That was, but the thing about documentaries is that they have their own timeline. With narrative films, you can have a script, you can shoot it, you can edit it, and it's much more understandable how long things are going to take. Right. But with a documentary, you shoot a little bit, you edit some, you look at it, and then you go and have new ideas and go shoot some more and then edit some more, and you just never know when it's going to be done. So it took longer than I expected. That's all.
How long did it actually take?
Well, I mean, this was the 2016 campaign, and it's just coming out now. But I think that's fortuitous because it's an election year, so people can, people are in the mood to see stuff about presidential politics.
Right, perfect timing for it.
Yeah, so it ended up being perfect timing, exactly. Everything happens the way it's supposed to.
I agree. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show, Daniel. Please go ahead and watch Daniel's new movie, Immortality or Bust. I very much enjoyed it. And thanks again. Hope to have you on the show soon with another movie. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.